Hey, what's up, everybody? The Villain Club here. I know, the V Club, but the Villain Club. Here to talk about anything and everything because nothing's off the table. And I wanted to get back into the wrath of the aftermath of what we have going on over here. This thing is still lingering over here. All right, the fallout of this Biden bullshit is what it is. And I wanted to just kind of go in depth a little bit more about what happened there. And by the way, look at this. Breaking news here. United Healthcare CEO killed outside of hotel in Manhattan. Who's out there at hotel in Manhattan? Let's see here. I'm gonna take a guess here. Could be illegals. Okay. Could illegals do some sort of strong arm robbery attempt? Right. They see a well dressed white man, all right, and said, oh, this guy might have some money, and boom, right? I mean, why would anybody bother anybody in general, right? But if you're in Manhattan near a hotel, I mean, more than likely it's probably, and I could be wrong. I haven't looked. I honestly have not looked into who the motive or what this could possibly be, but I'm guessing it's an illegal, all right? And if I'm wrong, I'll come out tomorrow and say I am wrong, all right? Because that's what I always do. I always take accountability for my own actions. And so all I got to say is that, well, this whole Hunter Biden thing, we all know, all right, we all know that what Biden did, President Biden did, was simply cover up what was going to eventually happen was the unfolding of the crime family of the Bidens, right? Because, I mean, it's one thing to pardon your son, all right, cool, whatever. But to be specific, to pardon, back to January of 2014, all the way up till December 1st of this year. I mean, that's very specific, this shield sort of pardoning here of those specific dates, right? And it's just funny how that is. I mean, because everybody knows the story about how he worked for Ukraine Corporation. Months later, he did deals with China, did deals with Kazakhstan or one of them countries out there, and the tunes of millions of dollars, and that led him down the path of tax evasion, the drugs, and all this other crap, right? And so, I mean, when he got, you know, sent to court, got tried for what he essentially did, he was a sloppy mess basically because it all was triggered from the laptop he had issues with. Laptop had some telling things that was probably shouldn't have been looked at had he not turned in the laptop for repairs or whatever. And so that kind of opened up the Pandora's box. And then from there, I mean, what do you expect, right? But the whole point of it is he was, sent to court, was tried on, specific charges, and was convicted, right? By a jury of, his own peers, whatever you want to say. And Biden continually said for months on months on months on months that whatever is decided, he will not pardon him. And so that's where a lot of people are mad about is the fact that if you are adamant about not pardoning him and all that, you should stand by it, especially if you're a president, right? But to say I'm not going to pardon him, I believe in the justice system and all this other crap, then to turn around and pardon him and then be specific on those dates, one, that makes you a liar and you lose all credibility. Two, um, there's a cover up, right? I mean, Democrats in general are very scamish and corrupt, super corrupt. In yesterday's video, I talked about all these things that You wonder where did all the money go, right? Throughout all this time, all these years, all this time, and even as the latest of all that money that Kamala supposedly squandered, paying this, paying that, probably paying herself too. You know what I'm saying? Um, and it's continuous, right? This money pit, money drain of Democrats draining and taking your money. This is your money that they're taking. Like, how does any Democrats have any credibility whatsoever into believing anything that they ever say anymore? I mean, think about it. You could go all the way as far down as to, New York, right? Where at least Eric Adams is trying to at least repair some sort of credibility that he has left. I think he's doing it to save his ass by kissing up to Donald Trump all of a sudden, because he went from being like standing his ground on the support of illegals and trying to say that, oh, it's the sanctuary city laws, I have to follow it, blah blah. I can't do anything but follow it, because it's what's in place, it's the policy. To all of a sudden, he's closing down migrant centers. He's removed the debit cards. He's taken steps to kind of take apart anything that's for illegals. And the next thing to do now is just to basically just get them deported, and that's the next step. And so it seems like his actions is leading to that direction. All right, as he's trying to repair his credibility to the people because he lost a lot of it. For someone that was, police chief and all this other stuff, and then go down this path, because it is breaking laws. I don't think he wants to get arrested, but at the same time, I think when he kept poking what's the saying? You keep poking the bear, which is Biden, about, hey, like, I need money, right? He's one of the few that asks, hey, I need the money here because I can't continue to do this. I need the money, right? And so he poked the bear. The bear said, all right, well, if you want to be a pain in my ass, this is what I'm going to do. So he sends the FBI over to raid his place, on accusations of possible corruption, basically, right? To say, hey, you poke the bear, the bear's going to bite, right? That's what happened with the whole Biden thing and FBI raiding Eric Adams thing. So Eric Adams is in a lot of trouble right now in that sense because the FBI raided his place looking for something specific. So I think Eric Adams is doing what he's doing now, like a 180 on the migrants to save his ass. Kiss up to Trump, maybe Trump will pardon him, you know? Whereas these other blue city Democrats, the Johnsons of Denver, the Johnson of Chicago, and everywhere across the board, like if I was Shang Tao of Oakland, I'd be kissing ass too and be like, hey, how do I get pardoned? Like, right? Because she got raided too, you know. So she got raided. I think you should raid all Democrats. you know, the high level Democrats, raid them all because I'll bet you anything they all got damaging stuff when it comes to money and all this other crap. That this is just scratching the surface. Like if you really hunt down everything that they've been doing in terms of the corruption, I bet you'll find a lot of that money is in their books, right? Like their personal books in some way. Maybe it's, put off to some offshore account or whatever, but, it's just super corrupt. But yeah, this whole Biden backlash that's happening right now, I mean, it's obvious. Like, there's a cover up, and he straight up lied to everybody. I mean, how can anybody even like care for Democrats anymore because of Biden just lying to everybody? Like, how can anybody just stand there and look at him and be like, "Yeah, that's our president" anymore, right? I mean, he only has what 6 weeks left, and something like that, 5 6 weeks left. But yeah, it's just so bad, you know. And then you have bullshit artists like Newsom saying, "Oh man, Biden, man, he's as sharp as a tack." And I mean, did you see that? Did you see his speech? It was a clinic, man. How he did the speech, kissing up his ass and all that, man. And I mean, everywhere you read though, everywhere you read, like nobody likes what he did. And everybody's fine with the aspect. Okay, you are pardoning your own family member. Like who doesn't and who wouldn't pardon their own family member, right? Bill Clinton pardoned his brother, right? His brother or brother-in-law, something like that. He pardoned his own brother. All right. I think his brother or brother-in-law, one of them. And and you could pardon whatever, but the point of it was is that to say that I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it, and then you do it, that's the hypocrisy and contradiction to it, because the flip flopping that Kamala is doing is not a good look, right? I mean, when you look at everything else, like, if Kamala says this and then she says, oh, no, I'm not going to do that and this, do that, it doesn't make you look good, right? Because you're flip flopping, you're hypocritical, and what does that really say about you as a person? So that's just how I look at that. And then you see things that's happening, right? Man, I'm willing to bet this is a migrant crime right here. I'm betting this is a migrant crime because you know why? I mean, it could be something like isolated, like the San Francisco incident with the Cash App CEO. He was walking down the street and he got stabbed to death, right, in downtown San Francisco. But then once you find out the story that unraveled that one, it was because uh, the guy knew the CEO and stabbed him and had something to do with being drunk with the sister. It was a mess. That was a mess. But on the surface, it looked like a random guy or a random homeless attacked and killed the CEO of Cash App, right? But once you find out the story, it's like, damn. That one I didn't make any assumptions on. I don't know. I just didn't think nothing of it at that time. Um, but this one, I'm just thinking because it's Manhattan, hotel, CEO killed. There's lots of migrants out there. You know, what is it, like 58,000 that are in New York City alone have criminal records, right? That's what they talked about. So I want to go out on a limb and say that was an illegal. They did that to him. All right. Gunman on the loose after fatally shooting United CEO outside Manhattan. All right. So boom. What else here? I mean, another thing too is that they're so full of shit too. The View, because months ago they were talking about how months ago there's oh yeah, see, Biden's a man of his word, because he is all about the justice system, and he stands by when he says he's not going to pardon his son, that he's really showing that he's his belief in the justice system and all this crap. But then he turns around and then the rest is history. Everybody knows. Everybody's saying, look at that. Biden's a liar now. Everybody's saying it, right? So you can't really say that you know Biden grants son full and unconditional pardon. I mean, look at it. Biden lies about not pardoning Hunter and a black eye to his legacy. I mean, everybody's talking about it. All right, Lindy Lee, who's been outspoken about Kamala and the use of spending of the campaign funds, very outspoken. All right, look at her speaking about the Democrat. I mean, she's been taking the red pill more and more, and it's just funny. Let's hear what she has to say.
Voices on this matter are Biden and Karine Jean-Pierre, who went out there time and time again in the White House briefing room, no less, to say that Biden would definitively not pardon Hunter. This was an unforced error. If you were going to do it anyway, you probably should have just said, we're still looking into the matter and
Exactly.
not been so decisive.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it sort of compounds this idea that the Democrats have a pretty flaky relationship with the truth. They said that Biden was a suitable candidate until right up the very last minute, and now they went out and said they wouldn't pardon Hunter Biden, and they did.
Hey, I'm a Democrat, and I wasn't one of those people who insisted on the mental acuity of this president. I want to be very clear. I'm not one to say that the emperor is wearing clothes when he's not. The cognitive dissonance is just too much for me. But yeah, you're totally right. The same people who were saying that Biden is perfectly capable of being president until he was 86 are the very same people who are most vociferously defending him now. The Venn diagram is basically an overlapping circle.
Exactly, because those people that were supportive of, oh, he's not going, like The View and all these other dummies of, whether it's CNN and all that, they're all saying, oh, he believes in the justice system. See, he stands for it, and blah blah blah. Are the same people that after he pardons his son, they're the ones that say, yeah, who wouldn't? They're supportive of it, and and really just not really showing that he lied, and they're trying to sidestep that. Oh, he didn't lie. You know, he's just being, let's just say he's just being pragmatic, and of course, who wouldn't pardon their son, and blah blah blah, and all this other crap. So the Democrat Party is so full of shit, and anybody that's on that left progressive side is so full of shit. They got no credibility. Just like I remember Jamal Bowman, right? Who thinks people are stupid? He's on surveillance. He specifically goes towards the back door, and he's looking around, right? And he hits the fire alarm and takes the signs down, all right, just so he could slow I don't know, the whatever it was that was going on in the legislation building, right, committee or whatever it was that they were doing. He was just doing that to slow it down on whatever it is that they had to do, and to say that he didn't know it was the fire alarm. He thought it was the emergency back door or whatever. And it's like, dude, you blatantly pulled the fire alarm down. And if you have a history of working in schools, because that was your background, you obviously know what a fire alarm is. And if you look at the lever on the fire alarm, it says fire on it. So to say that, to bullshit and lie like that, that's why Jamal Bowman did not get voted back in. He got voted out and replaced, as the system plays out, right? This whole thing about voting counts, man, I used to not be a believer in voting, right? I used to think that my vote never counts. But it really shows how powerful voting can be. And when you vote idiots out like Bowman and Kamala and all these other fools that didn't get voted back in, I mean, you could look at San Francisco mayor voted out, right? The LADA voted out. You voted to what do you call it? Recall the Oakland mayor, right? You voted to recall the Alameda County DA. I mean, all this stuff, man. Voting is powerful, and what the Democrats and the left have done is that they're trying to replace our working class voters with these replacements called illegals, and they're trying to spearhead these illegals to be the next blue voters, to have this ongoing support of blue voters, and because they're going to end up pretty much indoctrinating them to be blue voters. And it was a strategy that was played out wide open until they got hosed in this election, because they're doing it at the expense of us Americans, all right, us paying for it, and then to say that we can't stand for that no more. So I'm glad that things are changing. But anyhow, this is the fallout of the Biden so-called. Biden probably won't have a legacy, and so-called library because, and I don't even know if he cares. I don't even think he even bothers him. I don't even think he cares. He's lame duck. I think he's pissed because he got pushed out and replaced by Kamala, and or pushed out of his own party. I guess you could say he picked Kamala. He got pushed out of his own party, so I think it was just the last fu to the Democrats and said, "Hey, I'm gonna pardon my son." All right, as one of my last big moves. That way, I could walk away with a clean slate too. Because, man, anything they would have done on him, they probably would have found a lot on Biden as well. Now, he shielded himself from any sort of possible, not possible, shielded himself from the corruption that this whole family is plagued with. Anyhow, that's the latest on everything. Comment down below, let me know what you think. And if I'm wrong about this whole Manhattan shooter, I'll talk about it and I'll say I'm wrong. But I think it is. I bet you it's an illegal, an illegal migrant shot him. You heard it here first. All right. Other than that, subscribe to the bell icon. I'll see you next one.